Welcome to Our Issues Milwaukee. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. It was the late Robert F. Kennedy that said each time a man stands up for an ideal or acts to improve the lot of others or strikes out against injustice, he sends forth a tiny ripple of hope, daring those ripples to build a current which can sweep down the tightest walls of oppression and resistance. We'll begin today's show by taking a look at a partnership between two professional sports franchises that have teamed up for change. My first guest is a trial attorney who is known for his representation of Milwaukee Bucks guard Sterling Brown. It's my pleasure to welcome Mr. Mark Thomsen to Our Issues. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here. And not only are you a trial attorney, you also represent civil rights cases.
I do.
And that is pretty much what this particular case dealing with Sterling Brown is, would you say?
Absolutely.
Many may recall it was January 26th of last year that Mr. Brown parked illegally at a Southside Walgreens that led to an encounter with several Milwaukee police officers, and that escalated to Sterling being tased, and then the story making national headlines. I'm aware that you're in the middle of a lawsuit, but if you would, bring us up to date on where you are with this situation.
Sure. You know, I think what I've usually I said this is an incident that would never have happened to my son. You know, Sterling is out on a date. He pulls up into a Walgreens parking lot. It's virtually an empty lot. His date's in the car. He happens to be driving a nice car. He runs in, and when he comes out, he's confronted by a white police officer who immediately is aggressive, who actually pushes him, who calls for help. 3 minutes later, we have 7 other officers that are there. Throughout this time period, he's been answering questions. The sergeant shows up, again demands, who are you? What's going on? They circle him. And in a minute, they've got him to the ground and he's being tased. But even before he goes down, an officer has pulled a gun. And that's how close we came to another incident. So he is on the ground. It's his date. He's tased. He's handcuffed. And it's only after several minutes, 15, 18 minutes, when he's allowed up, and that's only after they've said, oh, are you with the Bucks? And he's taken to the hospital, then he's let out, and then he goes and plays. But this kind of racist attack, the subjugation of the African-American male, is what has to stop in my city. And I think it was what brought me and to represent Sterling Brown actually to Sacramento. And what's at the heart of Team Up for Change.
Okay, and so we're going to fast forward to February 27th of this year. The Milwaukee Bucks decided to team up with the Sacramento Kings for, like I said, this one-day summit called Team Up for Change. So if you would, tell us about the effort and how it all came about.
I think these two teams and the owners of these two teams are really sort of paving the way. They had asked me to come out and speak on the panel with, Mark Thomsen and the owners of the Kings, to talk about the importance of the Bucks standing behind and supporting Sterling Brown. The day that the tapes were released, Sterling Brown had said, look, I am going to be a voice for the voiceless. And the same day, the Bucks issued a statement that said this was an abuse of power. Milwaukee has to have higher standards. We have to do better. And the focus of Sacramento was, how do we engage the community? And the meeting was full of folks from Sacramento that talked from educational point of view, community organization point of view, of really developing a city-wide coalition to attack, what I use, my term is, how do we deconstruct segregation? And it's so powerful when you have the owners of these teams leading the way, and it's crucial to Milwaukee and Milwaukee County. And Team Up for Change is coming back to Milwaukee next year. And I think that the task will be, what can we do in Milwaukee between now and then to say to Sacramento, to say to the rest of the country, what can Milwaukee do that's different?
Yeah, and the thing is, this is a part of NBA Voices, which is an initiative to address social injustice, promotes inclusion, uplift voices, and bridge divides in our communities, and this fits in perfect. And we look at the Sterling Brown situation that happened in Milwaukee, and in Sacramento, it was Stephon Clark, who, if people will remember, well, actually, there are protests going on as you and I speak, and this is due to the DA in California basically saying that none of the officers that were involved in that situation were going to be charged. And Stephon Clark was actually running through his grandmother's backyard when he was shot because his cell phone was mistaken for a gun. So a lot of unrest due to that, but it's those two situations in particular that brought Sacramento and Milwaukee together for this cause, right?
Absolutely. And you know, when Sterling gave his initial statement, he said, "I stand with Stephon Clark." You know, when we were out there just before the DA made the decision, even the chief of police anticipated that the DA wasn't going to charge. And they were talking about, how do we try to heal the community when we know this doesn't happen? Now, I believe that the feds have decided that they're going to investigate.
As a civil rights case.
Actually, yeah. And so in communicating with people since I left, I am sending out my hope that the feds do something in the absence of the DA doing something.
Yeah. And so I wanted to mention quickly, Sterling Brown, as you had said earlier, he did not want to see anyone else go through what he had to experience. And so he and his brother, who's a former NBA player, Shannon Brown, they've created a foundation called Salute, which stands for Sacrifice, Ambition, Loyalty, Unlimited Truth, and Education. And was this all stemmed from what he went through here in Milwaukee?
It's unremitting truth.
Wow.
Okay. It is, yeah, he and Shannon have set up a foundation. They've had a couple of events already. You know, he has been active in the city. You know, the Bucks are very active with Safe and Sound, running Rebels. And it is part of Sterling Brown's hope that out of this lawsuit, he will be able to put money in his foundation to work with young people, and not only in his hometown, but here in Milwaukee. You know, Milwaukee has this unique opportunity. We're at a crossroads. We can either go forward and, you know, admit where we're wrong. You know, I've said over and over again, until Milwaukee admits that this was a racist attack, we can't heal and we can't go forward. Because you have to identify the problem and own it before you can change it. And this Team Up for Change, I think, provides Milwaukee a unique opportunity. And this lawsuit provides a unique opportunity where legally the city could say, we know this was a racist attack. I mean, after all, the mayor's apologized. The chief of police apologized. You know, the city council issued a resolution concerned about the city's legal response, blaming Mr. Brown. And Mr. Brown and his brother look forward to the day when they can go forward and do good things, and particularly in Milwaukee.
Well, that panel that you participated on was how sports can help communities achieve equity, and that's our hopes, is that with this whole initiative that we can see the Bucks pull these cities together and get that message out, not just in Sacramento and Milwaukee, but across the country. So thank you for taking part in this very important initiative, and know that you're welcome back anytime.
And can I just say, I thank you for running the show and putting the spotlight on it. You know, unless we do it every day, it's never going to go away.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they just wrote a report, UW Milwaukee, on 53206. And we, you know, I moved here in 1984, and we've been talking about 53206 since 1984. And when are we actually going to move the situation on the ground? And to the extent the Bucks can help move it, I welcome the new ownership.
Yes, indeed. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you.
Mark Thomsen is a trial attorney that represents Bucks guard Sterling Brown. When we return to Our Issues Milwaukee, we'll continue discussing the Team Up for Change initiative that included community leaders, law enforcement, and youth advocates from Sacramento and Milwaukee. We'll talk with Milwaukee Common Council President Ashanti Hamilton, who also took part in that summit. We'll do that right after this.